All right, Kiss Army, welcome to the KissFAQ podcast. Thank you for giving us your time today and letting us into your head. I hope we don't do any damage. We're just a bunch of Kiss fans and we talk Kiss. So come along for the ride. You've got nothing to lose. All right, welcome to the KissFAQ podcast. In this week's episode, we're going to be going back in time just to put Gene's Vault Disc 1 through the ranking machine and see how that all pans out. Thank you for joining us live. David Donnelly, good to see you. G. Chupko, Kiss Vids, and anyone else who's watching us live or catching us after the fact, thank you for tuning in for this episode. What's some of the quick news this week? Ace World, the song featured, or the demo featured this week was Rock or Be Rocked from an early 1985 demo tape. It's a song that's, I can't even remember what I wrote about it for the monologue to intro that one, so check that out if you're so inclined. Also in the news this week was new issue of Rock Candy magazine. It's a UK magazine available online in digital format as well for, I think it's £6.99. It turns out to be $10.99 US. 16 pages of Peter Criss. Very good interview with him, but the price for admission is worth it for Peter's track by track from his new album. And I will never get sick about talking about Peter's album because I'm still enjoying it. So I refuse to apologize.
Real quick, Ewan, on that note, the biggest Swedish hard rock magazine, Sweden Rock, has an article about Peter Criss, several pages written by, that guy, Linnaeus.
Carl Linnaeus.
Yeah, so there's a great article on that one as well, coming out just a week from now or something like that.
Yep, so I've seen that one. If it makes it over here, we'll run it through the translator and see what Carl was able to get from Peter during his interview. He usually, historically, Carl is very knowledgeable. But he's also always tries to get some off-the-wall questions into the people when he interviews them. He's very, very well prepared and researched. So he often is able to get them to talk about something that they've never been asked about or that fans really want to know about. So always recommended reading, whether you have to translate it on your iPhone or you're able to read it natively. So congrats always to Carl. Also, Alex works with him on those publications that he's done in the past. So, Mark, you got anything this week?
Well, I got good news for all those U.S. people who are waiting for their CDs. The box is off to California. I should be at my distributor friend by Friday at the latest, and then everybody should receive their CDs pretty quickly after that because it'll all be within country. Also, the acetate for the vinyl is done and will be sent to me on Monday. So I'm looking forward to that, which means that I'll be starting the vinyl pre-order as well this coming week. So things are rolling and lots more to come.
Cool. Great news. Talking about that, I finished up War Machine this week.
Ooh,
so I've got the final proofs coming in. So there'll be one more proofing stage. Then I just got to let the ownership know about my plans and see if I'm good to go or whether I have to jump through any hoops. 210 pages is what it turns out as. Nice. So that's the end of that road, thankfully, because now I can also focus on hopefully getting Magic done for our mid-year for the 30th anniversary of the reunion. Every day is another anniversary. I did buy some Kiss stuff this week, but it hasn't arrived, unfortunately. Weather is impacting deliveries still. The Midwest and the East Coast, of course, was hit pretty badly by the temperature, so hopefully everyone's staying warm. Chris Flood wants to know, Mark, what's the temperature in Toronto today?
Well, I just got on my phone now a yellow weather alert warning that's going to be down again tonight to like minus 27 Celsius. So it's going to be pretty damn cold right now. Outside, it's minus 15. So, but we got it. But the thing is, it's deceiving. We got a lot of sun out. So it looks like you're going to go outside and it's going to be beautiful out, but you go out and you're like, oh,
yeah,
and you're like frozen solid in 3 seconds.
But Mark, is the sun hot, warm over there? Because
Yeah,
here when the
exactly.
sun comes up, you don't feel it. You don't feel
Yeah.
the rays from the sun. It's like, well, the sun is up, but you don't get any heat off of it. So
Yeah, it's
we're
very
also
yeah, it's very deceiving because you do feel a little bit of heat, but not a lot.
yeah. Oh, well, we got the same weather over here in the north of Sweden. While fighting the polar bears and killing a reindeer or two, you get you get low temperatures. We're in the minus 20 degrees Celsius. I don't know what the heck that is in Fahrenheit. We don't use that old system over here. No, that's an old
Yeah,
system.
I'll convert it for
Archaic.
you. It's bloody cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Still cold.
Yeah, 22 in Stockholm for Fahrenheit, people, but it'll be colder up north where Daniel is. So there you go. All right, let's get into the Silly Safe saga. Disc 1, of course. It's been a few years. Someone was celebrating the Vault on the FAQ this week, and that's kind of what prompted this episode. I haven't listened to the Vault in ages. Actually going back and focusing in on some of the discs. What I have talked about, and I don't know if it's the same for any of you guys, is when he dropped 164 or whatever the number was of songs, I found there was just way too much to digest. I'd gotten old by the time that had come out. Years ago, I used to get in tapes full of demos and be able to enjoy it, and it was all stick in the brain. And that's no longer the case now that I'm middle-aged. So I am still coming to terms with this stuff. I was looking through my Vault book and going, wow, I need to update this. I need to update this stuff because there's more known now about that stuff. Thanks, Ken. I think it actually is still available. I'm not sure. But again, I want to take all that material that's in that Gene Simmons Vault supplement, make it sound less like a dietary pill, and integrate it into a revamped demo and related song storybook, do a hardcover, because I haven't updated that one in decades either now. So there's so many more demos. Anyone who's checked out recent song stories knows, like Torpedo Girl and what was the other one, Two Sides of the Coin, that more is known about those demos. Backstage Pass, Insufficient Data or Data. Again, there's a lot more demos that have surfaced in the time since, and a lot more information. So that's where I'm going with those things. But to get back to the Vault, how was your listening experience doing homework for this? Was it, as you remember, the last time you touched the Vault? And when was the last time? So Mark, when's the last time you listened to anything from the Vault?
1 second. Sorry. It's been a while, to say the least, since I listened to it. But I found it sort of interesting. I did take it very seriously. Once you see paper in my hands, that means I take it very seriously, making notes and ranking it and blah, 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 blah. It was an interesting experience. Some songs were surprisingly better than I remember, and others were just as painful and Chinese water torture-ish as I remember from past times.
Ken, how about you, Mr. Red Kool-Aid drinker? You probably listen to the Vault every week.
I do not listen. No, I don't.
Every week.
No, I have so much music. There's no way I can fit, doing that all the time. It's been a while, quite a while actually, I think. So it was kind of enjoyable to go back and revisit some of the songs. I mean, we're talking, these are, demos. So demos are demos. They're not always completely. There's a couple of songs that feel like they're complete, and finished pretty much. But a lot of them is demos, and you get, that's what you get. But there's still a lot of, still standout demos that I really enjoy. I forgot about. So I'm gonna look. I look forward to getting into the other discs other than just disc 1, which I've focused on this week.
And Jordan's reminding you of the pain and suffering that you actually had to go through to get your epoxy Vault in the first place. So,
oh yeah, that was the fun trial, but everything ended up well, and I got my gift, which was this came in there, the half boot shell. So that was a pleasant surprise. They made it up to me, at least with that.
Oh, I didn't know that. The Let Me Know podcast.
Let men know.
Let me know. Yeah. Has an episode about the Vault. That's cool. So check out that. I don't know if that podcast auto dubs into English. I know Burnt's recent stuff in December did. So if it does auto dub to and translate, definitely check that out. Daniel, what about for you? I mean, you didn't. I take it you didn't buy the Vault in the first place.
No way. But just to preface,
No way.
just to what do you say? Preface this.
Preface.
The Gene Simmons Vault supplement that Julian wrote is available on Amazon for $10. So go and get it.
Well, geez.
Even here in Sweden. So it's
That's a deal.
That's a deal. Well, the Vault to me was always a mishmash of songs, but I did find stuff there that I liked. And rediscovering the Vault this week, I have to say that there are some gems there, I think. But there are really some of bottom of the barrel sort of stuff as well.
Oh yeah.
But I knew that, so it was kind of what I expected, and some of the songs are pretty catchy. So it'll be interesting to hear what songs you picked as your favorites. I think there are a few good ones.
Yeah, so again, it's fun to have a reason to go back and focus in on these things. I don't listen to the Vault very much these days. It's like Gene's songwriting manifested in a oversized package. It's too big. There's too much stuff. It's like a blender of songs. Just throw it all.
Oh yeah.
And then what they've done to a lot of the audio is just ruin it. It's brick walled, it's edited, it's chopped up. I'll show a couple of examples from this first disc. I don't think I have any audio to play today for that. Oh wait, I do. So we'll get into that, but let's get started. Oh wait, one more last thought. It's been so long since they kind of got rid of all the leftovers from it. I'm still surprised that they have not done an LP version. Just one LP at a time. Turn one disc at a time into a double LP with reuse the packages and some of the liner notes and sell those at a premium. It just boggles the mind that such a brilliant businessman cut his balls off economically to get that thing out, but is so restricted from seemingly using the material in any other way to keep monetizing it. So there must be business reasons. That's clearly the explanation. And also Kai's comment, just to quickly go back to, chronologically, it's still a problem. And that's why I did the Vault supplement, because again, I did know otherwise in some cases, but I don't know everything either. And I'm completely potentially wrong in many cases. So there we go. An updated version will have additional clarifications and updates. All right, let's get into disc 1 of the saga. And when talking about the Silly Safe, it's going to be interesting to see how people's opinions go on this. But let's start with the worst of disc 1, according to this panel. In 15th place was 16 points, consistently near the bottom of everyone's list, other than that one person, of course. Hunger. Mark.
Hunger. Okay.
Hunger.
Yes. It wasn't at the bottom of my list. It ended up being like 9th out of 15. I mean,
it's the same as me.
I mean, here I put a little thing beside each one. I was ranking everything out of 10 on my list, right? This got a whopping 4, and I put beside there, pretty boring. I don't like the backing vocals on this song. Much like Gene's problems with most songs, his backing vocals are either hit or miss, and a lot of repetitiveness in his writing. This one is no exception.
Yeah, an interesting one. Yeah, I think Jordan just made a very interesting point as well in the comments. Actually, KissVids, half my discs were bad. Yeah, I remember that was a problem for quite a few people who purchased this. Discs were bad. I had contents missing from the Vault that I got, of course. I didn't have any special gift in mind, just an empty chasm. It should have had a cease and desist in it. Ken, talk about hunger.
Yeah, mine's the same as Mark. Mine was number 9 also. It's not, the worst. It is like he said. It's kind of boring, and it doesn't do a whole lot for me. but it's okay. It's just, again, these are demos.
Yeah.
You're not fully fleshed out kind of songs, but it's just okay. It doesn't do a lot for me, so that's why I think it fell in the middle. I mean, that is around the middle, or a little bit higher than middle, but the second half of the list. It's okay. I don't have a lot to say about that song.
No, Daniel, how about you?
Second to last for me. I think, as Ken mentioned, these are demos and you have to keep that in mind because they aren't finished. But there's no way this song could ever become anything good because it's just so damn bad. And especially that riff. So silly riff, doesn't work. Trash that one. So I think this is a bad song but that's the problem with Gene. He can't tell a bad song from a good song, but at least he can do like 100 songs, and at least one or two of them are pretty good. So it reminds me of one of the songs on Asylum with a silly riff. Which one is it? There is a song on there that has such a silly riff, and it just ruins the song.
Secretly Cruel.
No. Don't go there, Ken.
It has a little bit of
Don't go there. No.
Does.
Nothing on Asylum is bad from
I'm
Gene.
just saying.
There's not a bad song on Asylum from Gene.
Okay.
But on Animalize, it's probably one of your favorite songs on Animalize. But that's the one it reminds me of.
Yeah, it was post-Asylum, pre-Crazy Nights. For me, it's the chorus just drags this one way down. I don't mind the riff. Gene's played around with that riff in different forms so many times. He latches onto an idea and he either does that idea to death, which is why there are multiple songs on this vault that sound the same, just with different lyrics. Or, they make it onto a Kiss album, and a lot of them are helped along the way by Paul Stanley or Vinnie Vincent or Tommy Thayer. So Gene needs a lot of help sometimes with his ideas, because he doesn't have terrible ideas, but like Vinny, he needs someone else to come in and say, that's crap, that's over the top, how about this? And this is one of those. So it was second from last on my list as well.
He actually needs Vinny and Gene. That's a great combination.
Yeah.
There you go.
Again, I expect more out of this. So
just real fast here. I recall which song I was thinking about on the Animalize record. It's the one. Is it
Murder?
Which Murder?
Murder in High Heels.
High Heels. Ken loves it, but it's the worst song on Animalize.
Brutal. I'm surprised that in 14th place is one of the so-called legendaries, Mongoloid Man. Yes, I am. Managing a grand total of 16 points, I think, was it? No, 17, pardon me. So Mongoloid Man, obviously with the Joe Perry connection, dates from about 1978. And I've got massive problems with this in hindsight. And this isn't in the Vault supplement. I'm just going to show you the waveform of the original demo and the one that they bricked to. I mean, look at all those frequencies being chopped off on the bottom. That's the one on the Vault. Now look at the waveform itself. They've cut and pasted things around and shifted things, moved it all around to change the arrangement. And to me, I mean, right at the beginning, the count-in is identical. So it's definitely, that's the original track, and that's what they put out. And that's what I don't like, what they've done on a lot of songs on this product is, number one, bricked it, and number two, edited originals. And it's just a matter of rearranging rather than improving. So it seems gratuitous. I'm sure, again, there's an explanation of that. Mark, go back to you to start on a Mongoloid Man.
And it doesn't matter if it got bricked or not. This song is shit. It doesn't matter what they would have did to it. Nothing could improve this piece of garbage. It's unbelievable. How did they even consider this to be worth putting on the Vault? Even, I mean, this is terrible. Like that chorus, Mongoloid Man. Like it sounds so shit. Like, why would he use this? And if I was Joe Perry, I would immediately say, please get me off of this track. Never associate me with this song ever again. I mean, it is terrible, man. I'm like, when I listen to this, I sometimes wonder to myself, okay, you know, Gene's one of those guys who likes to try different ideas out.
Yeah.
Let's try this and that, and experiment. But man, how could he think for 1 minute that this was good? I mean, it's pretty much say you don't want it. It's pretty much the same thing, just different lyrics in it, and even that is ruined by the fact that he uses lyrics that end up in spit on that song. I mean, God, I mean, what a worse combination of stuff you could do. A Mongoloid man and then lyrics from spit, and oh my God, this is just needs to be blowtorched, grenaded, atomic bombed, just whatever you can do to show no evidence of this song ever again. I think it's crap. It was at the bottom of my list for sure on this one. This is just crap. A 1 point I gave it.
Okay. Oh, we'll see if Daniel's opinion is better than that.
Well, there are a few crappy songs on this disc one on the vault, but at least I think this one is pretty fun. It's like a joke, the whole song. So I laughed listening to it. Mongoloid man. I mean, it's hilarious. So I laughed through it. So just because it made me smile, I put it a bit higher on my list. I think it was a fun song, but I wouldn't like to see it on a Kiss album. That's for sure.
Well, Ken clearly doesn't think much of it either. So, Ken?
No, it's 14 on my list, and I agree with you guys. It's kind of goofy. The lyrics are just kind of strange, and there's another song here though on this disc that has the same music that's better than it. It's not as crazy. It works better, you know, even though it's still not the greatest thing, but it works better than Mongoloid Man. So, yeah, Mongoloid Man's kind of a throwaway, in my opinion. It's a song you don't want to go back to and listen to.
No. Is it okay to say Mongoloid in North America still?
Yeah, it has some connotations now, but I mean, in terms of Kiss and political correctness, screw it. I think it's more there as a matter of completeness because he talked about it. So here it is. I think certainly mixing it with the next song on our list in 13th place on 18 points is Say You Don't Want It, which is again is the next development of Mongoloid Man in terms of trying to do something with it. That one at least is recorded to a higher quality and has a little bit more effort in the lyrics.
Yeah.
But that's not saying an awful lot within this context. If he'd put out the vault and it didn't have Mongoloid Man on it, let's be fair, I would have complained because we've heard so much about it over the years. Yeah. And then we were like, oh, that's what it is. Well, now we know. So thank you, Gene. Daniel, Say You Don't Want It.
Yeah, terrible song. Silly riff once again, and this one isn't even funny. Mongoloid Man was at least fun. I mean, it was so crazy out there, so I left. But this one was just a pain to get through. So this one ranked at number 13 out of 15 for me. I think it was a bad song. Oh,
Ken.
Yeah, this was a little bit higher for me. I mean, not high, but a few higher than Mongoloid Man. Same tune, just better lyrics, better. You know, it's a much better, you know, much improved over Mongoloid Man. So, but still, I don't like the tune in general that much. Don't like the flow of it, so it's not very good.
All right, Mark. I don't think you're going to be as venomous about this one as Mongoloid Man, are you?
Well, I mean, basically, like you said, it's the same song. I mean, the only thing that's better on it is, like you said, the audio quality is better. The lyrics are a bit better, but again, it has those spit lyrics in there. So immediately when I heard that, I was like, ugh, oh no. So that brought it down. And while it's not as bad as Mongoloid Man, it only got 2 points as opposed to 1. This version of it, and it did land in number 14 on my list. So I didn't really think too much more of it. I just think the only thing it has going for it is just slightly better audio quality in it, and yeah, the lyrics are a little bit better.
That's pretty funny because it's in the middle of my list because I think there's much more egregious material on this disc than that.
Oh.
All right, moving on into 12th place on 20 points. Are you a boy or are you a girl? Sounds like something Gene would ask someone just to be obnoxious, but there we go.
Yeah.
Ken, get us started with your thoughts on that one.
Yeah, this one is at the bottom of my list.
Oh.
It really is. I don't care for it. I think it was an attempt. I don't know if it was an attempt to write some kind of I don't know if this is the one. It made me think that he was going to try to write a Ramones song or something. I don't know. Something like that. Anyway, it's just, it does nothing for me at all. I just don't get it. And that's why it falls at the bottom. I just can't get into it at all. So,
Mark.
Well, I'll tell you what I put. So first of all, I ranked it number 12 on my list, so down at the bottom. I didn't really like it, and I put here, are you a boy or are you a girl? I gave it 4 points. I put lazy version of Are You Ready? Basically, their whole verse is the same format as Are You Ready? Dan sings, dan sings. Yes, it's the same thing. Like, he does the same shit. He follows the same formulas on certain songs. He always does like 5 versions using this sort of layout of the song and stuff like. And there's also a really long fade on this. I mean, you could have faded this out a lot quicker than it did. It was like, 15-second fade out on this one. Like, why? I mean, again, it's not as bad as Mongoloid Man and these other songs. That's why it got like a 4 out of 10. But still, I mean, this is where we start seeing Gene's problem as a writer. I find is that, like Julian mentioned, he seems to rehash a lot of things over and over again. 6 versions of this riff. It'll appear in different songs numerous times, and even same arrangements will appear. Let's do this, but just different lyrics. I like this kind of verse style. Let's use it in this song, and then another. So there isn't much variety in his writing. Let's just put it that way.
No, that speaks of a very limited musical, vocabulary from Gene. That he's very limited. He doesn't go outside the box very often, as the vault kind of illustrates, with so many repetitions of the same thing, rehashed, developed, just incremental, and they still never make it. I mean, Rotten to the Core, all throughout history, a song trying to happen, high and low. Again, it's kind of endless. And what I admire about him is his persistence. And still he persisted with trying to write songs. Daniel, your video's frozen, but hopefully your audio's here.
Oh no.
That's it's in a good position at least. You don't have like a weird face or anything.
I enjoyed the bass on this one. Actually, Gene tried some different stuff on this one. He plays around with the bass, and I enjoyed that. And Mark said the ending wasn't that good. I don't know if I made it to the end, but so I'm not sure about that. But it's clearly an embryo of a song, and maybe it's the embryo of Are You Ready? But I enjoy Are You Ready? So I don't think this was too. I don't think it was that bad, even though it's clearly an embryo when it comes to vocals and lyrics and music. It's like an idea he's done, but I think this was maybe the embryo of Are You Ready? I think it was pretty good. I think it's better than a lot of the songs on disc 1.
Yeah, I had a 1-word review for this, rubbish. But you touched on something that I also wrote in my notes, that some of that bass tone and some of those runs, immediately I had visions of the Ox in my mind, that he was doing some kind of John Entwistle inspired bass, very poorly executed, but I kind of see like a Who-ish element coming through that. Again, a lot of stuff, while I call it rubbish, Paul Stanley could whip it into shape, or maybe Paul Stanley refused to whip it into shape. Maybe Paul Stanley's Room 101 is Gene Simmons' Vault. If it's rejected from any chance of potential use by Kiss or by Paul, then it goes in Gene's vault. So there we are. The Entwistle bass. I've tried to focus in on some of mine musically and find elements that I like there. Because if it was all about Gene's lyrics, we're doomed. All right, moving on into 11th place on. This is our first tie on 22 points. I think it's our only tie, actually. Yeah. So we'll just go with Hey You first. Daniel, go back to you.
Hey, well, this was not good. It's a terrible song. I don't know what he was thinking. The chorus is hideous, you know. It's just screaming through the song. And this was the worst song on the disc, I think. I put it in last place. Hell yeah. I couldn't stand it. I had to,
you know. Kidding.
Mongoloid Man is better than this?
Mongoloid Man is
fun. Sure you're
about out of your mind.
Mongoloid Man is fun. It's a crazy
cannot be
song.
Talking about the right song. I can't.
No.
Yeah,
hey, you. Hey, isn't that the word? Hey, you. It's just screaming through the song. It's a terrible song. No feel, nothing. It's just one of his worst song on this CD. So I put it in last place.
Well, I also had this in last place.
Yay!
So, yes. But I start off with something positive on my notes. I say there's a great bass groove to begin and how it builds. Yeah. And then Gene starts singing and ruins the whole freaking thing. And again, those background vocals are painful. The chorus is painful. There's a nice part for the pre-chorus vocal. There's like a little break that goes in before the chorus that I do actually think is good, but it's still at the bottom of my list. It's just one that's never worked with me. Ken?
I remember, we're going way back now. I still remember you liking this song a lot. Hey You, when we first got the vaults.
Could be.
Julia. Yeah, I just remember it for some reason. I think you liked it even more than I did. Anyway, I had it up at 6. I think it's a well done song. It's not the best, but it falls more around the middle. I think there's nothing annoying about it. I guess the Hey You part maybe is a little, not very inspired or whatever as a chorus or anything, but it works okay as a song.
Let's see if my app works to bring up this song. Mark, Hey You, yes. You're next.
Well, I'm still kind of shocked that Daniel thought this was the worst song. I mean, I'm not saying I'm not saying it's fantastic, but I gave it a 6 out of 10. I put it's okay.
Mark and I are on right on.
Yeah, I put it's okay. There's lots of harmony vocals, but the harmony vocals aren't that great, and there's a lot of high singing from Gene. It's the kind of singing I'm not really used to from him. Just really, I don't know, very odd singing from him. I agree with that from Daniel that the singing is very, very odd in this song, but musically it didn't really bother me too much. Once Gene's saying that's where the trouble starts, but there are much worse songs vocally on this record than this, that's for sure. So overall I put it at 6. I mean, this might be a little high, but there are worse songs, believe me, than this.
Yeah, it's a competition for the bottom at my list. So again, Ken, I may have liked it in the past, but on recent listens this week in preparation for this, it wasn't working for me whatsoever.
Okay.
I'm going to go first on the one that it's tied with, because I hate this song with a passion. I'm almost like put a quarter in Mark mode for this one, because I despise In My Head. It's crappier crap than stale crap. The best part of this one is kind of the little talking before they actually start playing and just setting a vibe for doing the demo. Now, some of the riffs in My Head are promising and could have been utilized elsewhere, but for me, In My Head is trash. Daniel, since you're still here.
Yeah, I'm here. Seems like the video isn't working, but
don't worry about it. We can hear you.
Okay, yeah. In my head is yeah. I think the problem with In My Head is the drumming, because I don't know what they were going for. You have this great drummer in Eric Singer, and he's just playing doom doom doom
do 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 do.
I don't know about that, but on the album it sounds the same. You know, he's playing the same way on the album on Carnival of Souls. So I think they could have done something else with the drum, because to me it totally kills the song. I think I like the lyrics. I think it's good lyrics from Gene. In the mid-90s, this is a perfect lyric, and he sings it well. But the drumming just destroys the whole song. So. But it's way better than stuff like "Hey You Hunger, Say You Don't Want It" and stuff like that. So it actually ended up in position number 6 on my list. But still, it could have been way better.
So you're not going to be a first day customer for Carnival of Souls Deluxe Super Edition with 17 versions of In My Head. Okay, Ken.
Yeah, In My Head. Yeah, it's not one of my favorites either off of Carnival or anything either. I mean, it's okay, but it's not that good here. It's 10 on my list out of 15. It's not horrible or anything, but it doesn't, it's not as good as the next version, which is okay. It's just kind of plodding, more of a plodding feel to it on this version than the finished one, which is not much different anyway. But it's not. It's just, I guess I wouldn't want to listen to it over and over again. That's for sure. So yeah, falls kind of low.
Mark. Okay, well, I'm sorry. This is just horrendous. So I was never really a big Carnival of Souls guy. I mean, to me, it's just the album that it just shouldn't have been made. It's just not a believable record in so many ways. I mean, I put this number 13 out of 15, like really low down. And my notes, I just put here, terrible grunge era Gene. How can you believe that this guy is so depressed? In my head, there's all these things that are consuming him, when the man, and every day when he talks about stuff, talks about how lucky he is to be here and has such a great life and has money and this and that, and now you want me to believe that he has this big battle in his head going. It's just unbelievable. It's total shit. He was just trying to do what was popular at the time, and it's not good. The other song that appears on this one here from the same album, I think, is a far better representation of a better song. It's still unbelievable lyrically in a lot of ways to me, but I like it a bit better than this, or a lot better than this, to be honest. But this song is just, it never connected with me. I just think it's really just, following what was popular and following it badly, to be honest.
Was he following or was he mocking?
Nah, Gene, I don't know.
It's almost like he's mocking them for their sensitivity. The flannel guys and their inner emotions.
Well, he wrote a lot of songs around that, so I mean,
Gene's a weird cat, that's for sure. Yeah. All right, well, you talked about this next one already, Mark, because in 9th place on 23 points is Carnival of Souls, number 1, and it's one of the silliest songs in the vault. It's crap. It's like Plastic Prodigy. It's just bullshit. I do not like Carnival of Souls at all. But it's got a vibe that bumps it up into 4th from bottom for me. Again, we're in the trash can part of this disc for me with this one. Mark, straight back to you since you were talking about it.
Yeah. So, well, actually, this wasn't the one I was referring to, but this is another song that's, not that great. I mean, for me, it landed at 9th position, but there's only one reason why it went up that high, is because I kind of like that harmonized guitar riff at the beginning, how the chords interact with each other. I found it like an interesting harmony. But the problem is, once they get out of that part, it just goes nowhere, and it sounds like any other kind of vanilla kind of rock song. It totally loses its effect after that. I put here, intro is okay, but the vocal parts are weak in this song, and the direction seems directionless. It almost seems like you said, they wanted to be like Prodigy or some kind of 9 Inch Nail wannabe kind of part in there, and the vibe. sort of is projected through that. But again, like, it's he's trying to be other people on these songs sometimes, and I understand just to experiment and stuff. But you're releasing this stuff, dude. Like, come on.
Well, he's the man of 1,000 faces.
Yeah.
So
Pick a good
Daniel. Daniel?
Well, Carnival of Souls, I think, is the problem with the Carnival of Souls is very similar to one of the songs on his solo album, Asshole, from the early 2000s, that was called Weapons of Mass Destruction. It's stressed. You get a feeling of stress when listening to it. There's no letdown. It just goes on and on, makes you feel. It creates a feeling of anxiety within yourself when you listen to that. It's not very. I don't like listening to it. I just want to turn it off. It's like noise, Exactly. Stress. Yeah. So, but with the amount of crap that is on disc 1, it still managed to reach number 8 on my list, but I don't like it at all. And it's actually the top of the crap songs for me. I mean, I don't like it at all. It would get 1 or 2 out of 10 for me, but it's still better than a lot of the stuff. But now we're moving on to some of the good stuff soon, so I'm looking forward to that.
Are we?
Are we?
Yeah,
Hopefully.
I think so.
Ken, you're up.
I am. Oh, yeah. I mean, I agree with you. I agree with Mark too about the 9 Inch Nails thing and all that kind of stuff. You guys, it's just like go, and it really. I mean, the musicianship is there. It's okay, but it's not Kiss kind of songs. It is trying to write some grungy stuff that we've already heard before or whatever. Maybe it's second-rate grunge, I guess you could call it, if it's even that. So
yeah,
it's not good. I don't enjoy it. That's a skipper for me.
We'll be back with Kiss after this.
Oh, hey, you're still here, watching or listening. Why don't you hit that subscribe button or click the like one? And if you want even more, click on the join button on YouTube. Thanks for your support. All right, moving into 8th place on 29 points. Now we get to a little bit of separation in terms of the votes and where these songs rank. So Hand of Fate. Mark, get us started on that one.
Okay, so Hand of Fate. This one wasn't too far down. I mean, I put this 7th out of 15. Now I'm trying to look for my notes here and what I talked about. Oh yeah. Hand of Fate, I gave it 5.5 out of 10. I go, it's okay. At least it has a bit more different parts, and it's not like the same part over and over again. What I started noticing early on in some of the songwriting was that he would write a part and just ride on that part over like 3-4 minutes, the same part over and over and over and over and over. It just drove me nuts how much he would stay on one part. But this song, at least, he started having variations of a verse part, a separate pre-chorus part, maybe a separate instrument. Like, it just seemed like there was a little bit more breakup of stuff on here in this song. So, it's not horrendous. I still think there's much better songs on this record. And of course, I have to give it the half point that I gave it, the 5.5 points, was simply because I love the song Hand of Fate by the Stones. And because he used the same title, I gave him an extra point.
Nice. I appreciate you going that extra mile and actually giving yours grades. Talk about grade, a star pupil this week. Good job, Mark. I like that.
Thank you.
Daniel, Hand of Fate.
Hand of Fate is one of the better songs. I put it in position in place number 4 on my list.
Holy God.
Because I think it's I kind of like the Revenge era and parts of Carnival of Souls, and this is a song that maybe could have been on one of those records. I think it's pretty powerful. I enjoy he's playing around with some the beginning there. I kind of like that, and I think the main riff is what make this song better than a lot of the others. There's a good main riff, and you need a good main riff in a Kiss song to make it good. So I think this could have been something. You have to keep in mind that this is a demo. It could have been improved, but this is a good base, sort of speaking. You know, a good embryo. This could have become something that could have worked on a Kiss record, which you can't say about a lot of the stuff on this CD.
Yeah, Ken, Hand of Fate.
I'm on mute, of course.
There you
go.
Classic.
Yeah, I don't like it so much. Again, it's another kind of grungy kind of song for me. That beginning part, where they do it, part, and that part reminds me of when I just hear that, like, beginning of was it Because by the Beatles or whatever. That's what that reminds me of. And actually, there's a riff in there that also sounds to me like a part of a Beatles riff in that song. That's the only thing that really interests me about the darn song. Otherwise, I don't like this style of Gene. It's heavy, and it does have different parts, but I just don't like it that much. So it falls kind of lower on my list at 12.
Yeah, it's bottom half of the list for me. But there are things. I think it's a better attitude song than crap like In My Head or Hate or The Devil Is Me. It has. I don't get a Beatles vibe out of it. I get more of a Whole Lot of Love kind of vibe off that riff, like a reinterpretation of that.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I can see
that. So that's how that one pans out for me. All right, we are moving on. Hopefully, Danny will be back in a second.
There he is.
You're still here. Don't worry about the video if it cuts out. It is what it is. It's a podcast. All right. So in 7th place, Something Wicked This Way Comes on 32 points. I'm going to put up another one of my little. Look at the bottom. That's the Vault version.
Oh.
Look at how bricked that is.
Jeez.
You just see. And then they cut off about 90 seconds or more of Bruce's noodling.
That's too
all
bad.
Through that outro. They completely jank it. Like, why? Put it all on. These CDs were short enough anyway.
Yeah.
None of them were pushing near the capacity of an audio CD. They also did something else that really bothers me because they left the intros on for a lot of things, which I've already kind of mentioned. Those harmonies on The Hand of Fate, the talking before In My Head, and this was the original intro. If you've not heard it, so that's the intro. Chopped off that, which really bothered me. That's from the transfer of the mixed down reel that I got years ago. So I do like this song a lot. It's a really cool song, and I'm glad Doro, I believe, recorded a version of it. Ken?
Yeah, I like this song too. I mean, it's number 7 on my list. It's a very dark kind of song, and I enjoy it. I enjoy the whole thing. I like the there's a good breakdown section in it. I think is really, really good. It changes it up a bit, but I think it's a cool kind of dark, like I said, song. Evil in a way. I don't know what it is, but it's a cool song. So I enjoy it. I enjoy listening to it more than once, obviously.
Yeah, it was brooding
It's brooding. That's a great word for it.
Yeah, very, very moody. It was inspired by, who was it? Something Wicked This Week. Ray Bradbury, Gothic novel.
Yeah.
So that's where he got it. Mark, Something Wicked.
Okay, so I gave this an 8 out of 15, right dab in the middle. My actual separate ranking for it, I gave a 5 out of 10. What I put here was that I said that introduction riff I think is really well done. I like that with the acoustic and all that in there. I think it's really good. The problem with this song is that after a while it just feels like it goes nowhere. It seems to drag on, and the problem, maybe this is just something because I'm so much into progressive rock and that stuff. I feel like I'm almost not satisfied if I don't have a song that has more than 3 parts in it. I'm expecting different things and stuff. And when a song has maybe 2 or 3 parts only in it, then I kind of feel like it's like, okay, finish. It's going on too long. The only band that has gotten away with that and I love is Van Halen. Van Halen 1 and 2, they have 1 or 2 parts in it, but they're so good and so strong that doesn't bother me in the slightest. But these kind of songs that run a little longer and don't have a lot of difference in the songwriting, I just think because the intro part is so strong is why I kind of like it initially. If they just would have just tweaked a little bit of the back end of it, I think it would have been even better. So yeah, I gave it a 5, and it's right in the middle at number 8 for me.
And it does go on and on, so I can see why they edited that one, because that's just a straight edit. They just fade out early instead of having the extra 90 seconds or 2 minutes of noodling. But the noodling is very pleasurable. So again, there's no reason on a product like that to edit gratuitously when you've already got an exclusive audience who are paying $2,000 for the experience to get the damn thing, and you've got all this, and you're insisting on spacing it out across X amounts of CDs rather than doing the number of CDs to fit the content. So strange decisions. Daniel, Something Wicked This Way Comes.
Well, you've hailed the intro, but that's not enough to make a great song. This song is so boring, I have to say. It's probably the most boring song on the album, even though there's some, great singing going on there, and there's a riff or two that works. But for me, this is almost bottom of the barrel. It's so boring. It's one of those throwaways that could have ended up on something like Hot in the Shade, where there's a lot of boring songs. So I'm glad this didn't end up on a Kiss album. It should be allowed nowhere near a Kiss album. Such a boring, clueless song. Do something with it. It just goes on and on and on, and nothing happens. So number 11 on my list.
Yeah, it did very nearly make Hot in the Shade, so I guess that's appropriate when you think about the 15 songs that did make that. It was in advanced press releases, still included in the track listing for that album. So Daniel clearly dodged a bullet there. All right, moving on into 6th place on 35 points. Juliet, not Julienne. Juliet. Bane of my life, songs that are close to my name. So I actually really like Juliet, and I can't help but just hear it as my name. But it's because musically it's got a little bit of what I read as a Living Colour, Cult of Personality vibe musically. And that's what I've always gotten out of that song. But because of that vibe, I think that outweighs the overall quality of the song for my taste, because Cult of Personality, go listen to the original. Still like execution, and Gene actually did a really cool song by using that sort of music. That was something outside of his musical player. Mark.
Yes, 1 second here. Sorry. Okay, Juliet. Sorry, not the emergency email. Juliet, I gave it a number 10 on my list out of 15. Let me see why. Okay, so I gave it out of a 10, I gave it a 4. I said it's very Zepp-like guitar riff. What else did I put here? Sometimes hard to. Oh yeah, the lyrics. Yeah, the lyrics I find were pretty repetitive on here. It's bad enough sometimes to have music repetitive, but I'm not. I've never been a big fan of lyrics that overly repeat. And I know this might, touch a nerve with a few people, like maybe Daniel, like when I use this example, but I've never been a big fan of bands like Maiden that always do like, in a brave new world, in a brave new world, in a brave, like 5-6 times in a row with no difference at all in the chorus. It's like, can you not think of another line besides that one repeated over and over? Like, that's just, to me, just lazy songwriting. You have to have more to say than just one fucking line to make a chorus. Now, I'm just saying that that's not maybe the case with Juliet, but there is a lot of repetitiveness in it that way. I did like the like I said, the riff kind of reminds me a little bit of Zeppelin for some reason, kind of Zeppelin-y. But I still think there's much better songs on this album, still, or this disc. Sorry.
I'm just thinking, like, having a bad thought. Well, Mark doesn't like repetition. Mark in the audience of the "I Have a Dream" speech, getting to the 14th "I Have a Dream." You already said that. It's boring. Say something different, Daniel.
No, this is not a good song. Number 12 on my list. I don't like the way he sings it. I enjoy Gene when he can put on a great vocal performance, but this isn't one of his better performances. Terrible vocals, I think. I don't like this kind of screaming, Juliet! I mean, what the hell is that? It sounds like crap. And there's no groove in the song. No groove. I can't see any Led Zeppelin in this song like Mark did. I just think it's a boring song, boring riffs, and terrible lyrics. So this is bottom of the barrel. God damn it.
Wow. Ken, retort.
So he probably didn't like In Living Color either, I'm guessing. So it's probably similar to that. Yeah, because I get the same thing as what Julian was saying, that cult of personality riff or whatever. I see what Gene was going for. It didn't make a Kiss album because it's not a Kiss style song, but I think it's a well written and good, catchy song. So from that standpoint, I had a 3 on my list. I think it was just stands out as not pretty good. It's a pretty decent song. So I can't rank it as a junk. I think it's okay. It's just not a Kiss style. It's just a different style, and it's well produced, well sung. It works fine.
All right, moving into the top 5 now. On 40 points, I Wait. Mark.
Okay, so I Wait. Now, you might find this interesting, maybe not. I ranked it number 3 in my list. My ranking for it was number 7 out of 10. This, to me, was one of the biggest surprises of this disc, because number 1, I didn't remember this song. When I saw the track listing, I was like, I don't remember that song. Mm-hmm. And then I got to it, and don't forget, at this point, I've already had to endure listening to, like, In My Head, Say You Don't Want It, Mongoloid Man, and all this stuff. And then finally we come to I Wait, and I was like, hey, this isn't actually that bad. It's kind of, laid back. The parts are really decent. There's some better construction of individual parts on this. And for once, there's some decent lyrics in this song. I actually found that there was a little bit more meat on the bone on this one compared to some of the other songs that I'd had to go through earlier on. So I thought it was a great way to end disc 1, because at that point I was just about ready to give up all hope on Gene's humanity with his songwriting. But that kind of saved it for me. I think I Wait is probably very underappreciated and overlooked. Will it go on would it be possible to go on a Kiss album? Probably not. It would probably need some Paul input and stuff like that. But it's not bad. Not bad.
Not bad for being written by Steel Panther's drummer.
Is it?
Yeah, Daniel.
Yeah.
Well, I prefer Paul singing the ballads. My preference when it comes to Gene are songs like Unholy, War Machine, and Fits Like a Glove. you know, when he can be mean Gene, that's when he excels. When he's one of a kind, when he's great. I don't think there are many ballady sort of songs that I enjoy with Gene Simmons. Probably the only one that comes to mind is probably that one from his solo album "See You Tonight" and "A World Without Heroes." Yeah, exactly, those two. But I don't want Gene to be a ballad guy. I want him to rock, and this song sure as hell don't rock. So number 10 on my list.
Yeah, Gene doing the softer tone, emotional therapy session song. I don't think he had a whole lot to do with the writing of this song. He'd mentioned he'd recorded it in 2002, around the same time as All the Kids With Painted Faces. But it's a Foo Fighter-ish, emotional emo song for the Demon, and it doesn't work as well as, say, A World Without Heroes. It's a good song, actually, very good song. But in terms of the wrong character was cast to do this part. Ken.
Yeah, I like this song a lot. I think it's really good. I think it's a great vocal, even on a demo. He really puts his heart into it and really belts it out, you know, when he's singing "I'm all alone, I'm on my own," you know. It's really, really good. I like it a lot. I wish it was, you know, more well produced or whatever, or finished. I think it would have been a great song. It could have been a song that he could have done maybe put on the solo album, the second solo album. That would have worked. There's other like power type ballads that he's done on some of the other discs that are really, really good on the Vault that I really, really like even more than that. So he can do those, but yeah, it's better if they're more of like a power type ballad. But I like the song.
Yep. We'll have to see if we get to any of the other discs on this anytime soon. All right. So now it's a clear separation into the top four. And in fourth place, my number one pick from the album, I Confess, on 48 points. I Confess is one of my favorite songs, if not my favorite song on Carnival of Souls.
Really?
I immediately thought, what was my favorite song? It was between that and Master and Slave. But for Gene's song, oh, fantastic. I love the demo and the grungy grittiness. It's even more gritty, obviously, as a demo than the album version, which is pretty badly produced, or not underproduced, not badly produced. That's not fair to Toby for what they were going for. So again, I dig the song, its contents, its vibe, its mood. So it was the top pick for me. Mark, I Confess.
Okay, so I Confess on my list was number 2. On my individual rankings, I know that Drago loves my notes here. On my individual notation, I put it at 8 out of 10. I put here that, yeah, this is another one that appears on Carnival of Souls. While on Carnival of Souls, I didn't mind it. I feel that the demo version that I hear here is better. For some reason, much like Julian said, there's something about the vibe of this version of it that I just like better. It's not, while it is still grungy, there's something about those kind of eerie flanged guitar bits and keyboards. There's something about the version on this one that's really well done. It's really has that mood, that sort of, it's not ominous feel, but it has a sort of this sort of haunting mood to it, which I really like on this one. And lyrically, I think it's better. You know, it's not so over the top, you know, oh, woe is me kind of stuff like you get in my head and stuff like that. And I just think that this one is one of these songs where his vision of the song, I think, is more evident on this version. Almost like when he talks about the song on Rock and Roll Over there. What's that one? The song that he did in his solo album is also on Rock and Roll Over. What's that song?
See you in your
See you in
dreams.
your
See your
dreams.
dreams.
Yeah,
right.
like he says see you, his demo of that, or the solo one was more to his vision of the song than it was on the album. I think this is kind of the case here, where the demo was more to his actual vision than the album one.
Daniel.
I think it's too bad Carnival of Souls didn't get a production that was very good. At least I didn't like the production on Carnival of Souls, because at least Gene had a lot of great material for that album. And this is one of the great songs he brought to the sessions. I enjoy, much like Mark, the sort of ominous feel of the flanger effects. I think it's a keyboard or something that goes on a bit in this song that has been omitted on the album. So I think that makes a difference. I also have to agree that this is probably better than the album version. However, I do like both versions. So this is a top song on CD, one on the Vault for me as well. And I like a lot of songs that Gene put on Carnival Souls, but the production has always been the problem for me. Much like, on a Metallica album, the one that when Lars Ulrich played on a barrel.
Saint Anger.
Saint Anger. I have 2 or 3 songs that I really like there, but can't stand listening to them. So I love the version that is on YouTube when some guy has, changed the sound of the snare drum, and suddenly you can enjoy the song. So great song from Gene.
Just listen to the bonus disc where they play the whole album live.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds way better than the actual produced one. Mark, question for you from the what's the problem with Carnival Souls? Is it production, or is it mix, or is it mastering? Because we know that they were negotiating by the time that they were done for the reunion because of signing the contracts on January the 5th. So did they just wash their hands with it and say, just take the first mix and just say, master it up, we're done, walk away from it? Or is it a production issue?
I feel that that's probably the case. I mean, the production you can tell they wanted to go for something a little bit more, more on the heavier side, a little bit more raw, like something, in your face, gritty. But in the mix, you have that opportunity to give it anything that it needs extra. Like if it's lacking something here on the guitar, we can do it in the mix. If there's something lacking here, they can polish up a bit. But I think that at that point, the attention just was diverted out of that album into the reunion. You're like, fuck this, let's just get it done quickly. So we got Toby out of our hair, we pay him off, get it done, and then we can concentrate on the reunion. Because I think that they just gave it the same detail or the same attention to detail that they did, for example, like Revenge, that had a great mix on it. I thought, if they would have did the same thing for that they did, and did it for Carnival of Souls, I think we would have had a much different view of this album overall.
Yeah, thank you. Ken, I confess.
You confess. I confess is not my top song, but it's in the middle. I think it's good. I think it's I do agree with the mix, or the sound of it is better than the Carnival sound. It's it's basically the same song, of course. Nothing a lot different. But I think if they could remix Carnival Souls and make it sound better, or without less grungy or whatever it is, I don't know if they can, or it would be able to do it or not. Because sometimes when you mic an instrument a certain way, you putting it through filters or doing something, you record it that way, you can't do anything with it other than just raise up the instruments or lower them in the mix or something. But it'd be nice to see if they could fix that, or get rid of make it less grungy and more just straight rock, more gritty, I guess. But yeah, it's a good song. I like it. I probably like it better than the Carnival Souls version.
Yeah, look at that. Some of those Dressed to Kill box remixing or mixing videos that have been done recently. Yeah. You could do an awful lot after a song's recorded if you've got the original multi-tracks, right, Mark? Especially now with plugins and all the other elements that come into play, including and not limited to utilizing the dreaded 2 letters beginning with A and ending with I. So there's a lot of scope, and also a lot of scope during mastering to change how things come across. So it'd be an interesting experiment. Whether they'd pay for anyone to do that, it's another matter. All right, moving into the top 3. 49 points, only just beating out I Confess, is Legends Never Die from the Creatures of the Night sessions. Ken.
Yeah, I really like this song. I've always liked it when I first heard it on the Wendy O. Williams version way back when I got that. I thought it was a great song, and I like it. I like the Creatures. They have released it there too as an extra in the box. I think this one has an edit in the middle of it where they cut out stuff. I can hear it, but even though it does that, I really like this song. I really enjoy it a lot. So nothing bad to say about it. I've always liked it.
Yeah, I'm just looking into the timeline, and according to Michael James Jackson's planner, there was a mixing session for this song on May the 24th, 1982.
I would have rather had Legends Never Die than I Still Love You on the album. In my opinion.
This is for me, it's a great song. It's a really good song, and those acoustic guitars are very forward, and I like that. It's kind of a reverse to the Ezrin trick with the electrics behind it, but it's so brick wall to death on this that it's ruined. I mean, it's absolute audio butchery of a gorgeous song, a spectacular one to have been omitted, but it still ranks very highly despite all they did to damage it on the vault. Mark.
Yeah, I mean, I tried my best on this to just kind of ignore that whole end of it, that spectrum of the whole brutal mastering, and just kind of tried to focus more on the musical. And then I understand it's difficult when it's that brick walled. Legends Never Die ended up being number 4 on my list. On my individual ranking, I gave it a 7 out of 10, and I put this is a pretty decent power ballad, one that I think that Gene actually he approached it really well. I like the way it turned out. I think he sang this really good. Again, if this had, if like I understand they did give it a mix, just as Julian pointed out now that in May they did a mix for it. But I think that if they maybe did a couple of different mixes, tried a few different things, I think this song would have really been a strong song on the album as well, on Creatures. Would I have replaced I Still Love You? I don't know. I still think I Still Love You I like a bit better, but they're both very strong. I have no issue really with this song. This is probably one of the better ones that Gene did on this disc for sure. Maybe on the whole thing, it's probably one of his better power ballad attempts. So I have nothing really bad to say about this song.
Ken.
What song we got?
Legends Never Die.
Legends Never
Die. Yeah. I think it's a good song. It's pretty high on my list. Also 5. I think it's kind of another moody kind of, in a way, brooding song to a degree, but I think it's the little high vocals he does in it, are kind of cool. I think it would be better if there was a finished version of this. I think it would be even better. A very good song. So I like the whole sentiment of it. I think it works. I like it. The whole thing.
Daniel.
Legends Never Died ended up at number 3 on my list, and I think it's a great vocals, great chorus, and I kind of enjoy the feel of how do you say it? Melancholy. Yeah. It's a bit like World Without Heroes, that melancholy feel, and Gene really nails that feel in his voice and his singing, and it's a great performance by Gene. And when I listened to this song this week, it actually made me think of a Kiss member that has left us. It made me think of Ace when I heard this song, Legends Never Die. So it struck, a chord for me. So it's unfortunate this never ended up on a Kiss album, because I think it's one of his better, melancholic songs. So I'd like this on one of the records in the 80s. It would have been a great song. It's way better than a lot of stuff on Hot and Shade. But I guess, did they do this on that album with that girl that didn't have any clothes
Wendy O.
on?
Williams, yeah.
So that probably ruined it. So otherwise, it could have worked on a Kiss album. Great song, number 3 on my list.
Yeah. And he did do Childhood's End, one of the melancholic kind of songs. So
True.
he can
good
write
song.
in that vein, which is, again, sometimes, it sounds like I've criticized Gene for having a singular vocabulary musically, but sometimes when he goes out of the box, it does work. But most of those songs have co-writers. So there we are. All right, top 2, second place. You'll know what the winner is in a minute. It shouldn't be too surprising that I Turned to Stone on 54 points is in second place, making everything obvious and clear. So I Turned to Stone. They left the intro to this one on Turn to Stone, and they remove it from Something Wicked This Way. There's no consistency.
You're right.
It has a really good vibe. But Gene's vocal tone here is what sells it for me. He sounds great on this material, on this song specifically, and the vocals well recorded.
Thank you.
And it's got that kind of "thou shalt not" vibe lyrically. So there's kind of a self-righteous anger in I Turned to Stone, and I dig it very much, which is why I think was it my number 1? No, it's my number 2 behind.
My number 2 also.
Yeah. Daniel, I Turned to Stone.
Well, actually, that was my number 1. I Turned to Stone. I think it's one of the few songs on this CD that has a real cool groove. You can get into the groove in this one. Get into the groove. That's some old song from the 80s. Yeah. Yeah. Who's that? Yeah, exactly.
To me, Madonna.
Yeah, that's Madonna. Okay.
Madonna,
so,
right?
Yeah, or the New York groove. You can get into that.
Okay.
So it's a cool groove in this song, and I think it's the only song on the album that has this kind of groove. You kind of sing along with it, and to me, it's sort of a Domino song. It reminds me of Domino, but a little bit lighter, a little bit, funnier, fun lyrics. And if they could have done some more work on this song, I would have liked to see it on an album. I think it's a great song by Gene. I don't know why this didn't make an album, but cool vocals, great groove. The best song on CD1 for me.
It did nearly make an album. Bruce Fairbairn rejected it for Psycho Circus. Shame on you, Bruce.
Cool. Along with It's My Life. Man, what's wrong with that guy?
Yeah.
So go figure. This could have been in place of Within. Yeah. All right, Ken.
Yeah, Turn to Stone. I really love it. It's number 2 on my list too. Also, like Julian. Does anyone else hear the riff on this song that I hear? Here, hang on there.
So you walk down the street, turn heavy low, side to side, looking sweet.
Domino.
Yeah, I also hear Man on the Silver Mountain.
Yeah, Man on a Silver
Oh,
Mountain.
yeah.
That's what I hear.
The best.
Yeah. So, hey, steal from the best. So, yeah, that's what I always hear. It's like, it sounds like Man on the Silver Mountain riff, But yeah, that's a great riff. Might as well use it if you can make a song out of it. Yeah, I Turned to Stone. Yeah, it reminds me of Rainbow. That kind of song. But yeah, very well sung, cool song. It should have been on an album. I don't know why it didn't make it, but I like it a lot. I listen to it, as much as I can when I listen to the Vault, or if it comes up, I'll definitely pick it out and perk up because I really like that song.
Mark.
Well, it's interesting. So, I mean, I think the song is good. The thing though I found interesting when I first heard that intro, I was like, "What the hell is this?" Like, it sounded like it was played in like some AM radio underwater. It was like some really weird, like it almost sounded like they were trying to do. Gene was trying to do his version of like what's the opener from Hot in the Shade again?
Rise to it.
Rise to
Right,
it.
like that kind of like a little guitar bit at the beginning and then kick into a song. This is like Gene's attempt at it, kind of version of it, and it I don't know, it kind of threw me off a bit because it just sounded like quality wise, it sounded really weird. And then the rest of the song is good. I think it's well done. It's still not my favorite by a long shot. I mean, I put it as number 5 on mine. I still think there's better ones, and the number 1 song I think is much better than this. But still, it's good vocals on there. The riff is good, like Ken said, very Man in a Silver Mountain-ish riff in there for sure. I mean, immediately when you hear that, and I think the vocal style is more pleasing to people who are like sort of not touchy to that, but like are very concerned about that. Like Daniel, like I want the demon. Like this is more of the demon sort of attitude in it, right? So that's why I'm sure that it went higher on this list, because it's more of the attitude of Gene in this song than the other ones. But overall, I have nothing bad to say about it. Like I said, I put it number 5. I gave it a 7 out of 10 on my individual ranking. And yeah, it's a good song. I mean, could it have been on a Kiss record? Yeah, I'm sure that if they, had Paul put in his 2 cents and then somebody else put in their 1 cent, it probably would have been a pretty good song.
Yeah, Daniel, did I get you for this one?
Yeah.
Okay, then we're to the winner, which is "Are You Ready?" Not too surprisingly, with it having essentially been the single for the Vault. It was the free download. It was one that he played live as well. So only by a point does it win. To me, this one has not aged well, and I immediately pulled this one into Audacity to look at the waveform versus the another version of it. And again, it is just so brutally bricked. It's actually a tiring and fatiguing listen to hear this one. But it's so tied up with what it represented. It still serves that purpose. It was an anthem. It was useful for a little bit of drumming up excitement for the Vault experiences. Are you ready? I mean, what a great kind of Kiss song it could have been as well. Right in the wheelhouse of what Kiss liked to do for its anthems. So no surprise whatsoever that this is the panel's favorite song on disc 1 of the Silly Safe. Ken?
Yeah, it's the most, like you said, anthemish kind of song. It's kind of surprising it didn't end up on a Kiss album. Maybe it was too good to be on a Kiss album. I don't know.
Paul had something to do with it?
Yeah, I think
Paul wasn't ready.
Something to do with some of the songs on the Vault overall that Gene had put out that I thought were worthy of being on some of the albums, during the 80s or whenever. But anyway, Are You Ready is a perfect song. I agree that it's not aged well. At the beginning, it's like, this is a really great song. Though it's number 1 still on our lists for the most part, it's kind of after a while it gets tiring. You've heard it probably so many times. Gene plays it in his live shows, so it's getting tiring. Like Rock and Roll Night gets tiring a little while. You hear it so many times. But I think at least definitely the first number of times you listen to it, it's like, wow, this is a pretty darn good song. So it's a catchy one.
Mark, are you ready?
Yeah, I mean, this was number 1 for me, and I gave it a 9 out of 10 on my individual ranking. And this is the only song on this CD that, and I mean, I knew this one probably the best out of all of them because it was the one that was the most hyped, the one that he played the most on his solo touring. And, to me, this is the only song on the CD that I thought immediately should have been a Kiss song on a Kiss
Mhm.
album. I mean, it has all the elements in there that would fit perfectly to it. And I mean, I can say right now, I would have tossed Say Yeah from Sonic Boom and put this on instead. Easily, I would have did that. Just got rid of that one.
Or Animal. Get rid of
Say
Animal.
Yeah sucks, okay? Say
Animal.
Yeah is brutal, okay? I'm so sick of that boom, 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 boom introduction to it and everything. Like, forget that fucking song, okay? And put that one in instead.
Boom.
It's a much better layout. I think, and again, I think this is where all his experimentation came into play, and it finally worked. Like he tried all those ideas where he tried that sort of start stop verse. It didn't work too well on this one. Where did I put that? As in Are You a Boy or Are You a Girl? He tried this kind of verse in there. It didn't work out too well, but it worked perfectly for this, you know. And of course, it helps that the production is really good on this one. Probably the best sounding song of the whole lot on here. So that also gives a big bonus point as well. Everything in it is top shelf. The vocals are really good. The guitar solo bits are nice on here. So for sure, it had an unfair advantage that way. But I still think it didn't overstay its welcome too. It's not overly long. So to me, it's definitely numero uno.
All right, Daniel, congratulations. Your video has stayed stable for a few minutes.
Well, I changed the resolution to a lower thing, and that worked. So I should have done that like an hour ago, but I just figured it out. Yeah. So, the problem with this one is I don't know if it's what Julian said, because I'm kind of tired of the song.
I get tired.
And it might have to do something with the brick wall production of it, that I don't go and listen to this a lot. However, I really enjoyed it when he played it live. I think I've seen it 2 times live, and it really worked, and the people got into it. So it should have worked in a Kiss setting as well. And I have to agree with what Ken said. I mean, remove one of those bad Gene songs and put this one on the albums instead. I mean, this is way better than a lot of stuff on the 2 latest albums from. When was this done? Was it 2011? Was it before Monster?
Gotta check the book. Yeah.
I think it was just. I think
it
did.
I closed my file.
What did you say? It was 2007, 2008. Yeah. So
was it that
just
early?
before Sonic Boom? Yeah.
Oh my! I thought it was 2011. Okay, so it should have made an album, but of course it has a big advantage. This song sounds like it's been recorded from an album, while the rest of the stuff on this CD is like demo-ish, demo style. So it has an advantage. I don't think it reaches the groove of Turn to Stone, so I had it in second place. But it always worked live when I saw Gene live here in Sweden.
No, so
right. I think it's a great song, and it's very unfortunate it wasn't on a Kiss album, because it's an overlooked gem from Gene, and it's cuts to the chase. It's straight to the point. I mean, it's a Kiss song.
Yeah,
it should have been a Kiss album.
Yeah,
I'm glad I got to see that one performed live. So, all right, I got everyone on that. That's our ranking for disc 1 of the Silly Safe. We'll have to do this for further CDs down the road, but I'm certainly not going to rush to do these all sequentially for 11 episodes.
No.
That'd be way.
Break it up. We'll break it up.
Yeah,
Kill
hopefully
the channel.
Hopefully next week there'll be additional topics to discuss and do more of a regular podcast format. But again, there's lots of stuff to go back and revisit in this format. Doing the rankings just a way to frame the conversation, talking about all these songs and demos. Wasn't able to do as much multimedia for this today, other than the little bit from the 88 reel. For that intro. But thank you for joining us. Great turnout in the comment section today during this episode. I have no idea what our topic's going to be next week. I know things are going to start getting announced, as the year progresses. We're at the end of January. Today's the anniversary of, Kiss Show number 2, announcement of Eric Singer replacing Peter Criss back in 2001 and all that stuff, which we kind of covered last week. But that's it for this week. So for now, from Ken, from Daniel, Mark, and myself, thank you for joining us, and we shall see you next time, we hope. Thank you for spending time listening to the KissFAQ podcast today. All sales are final. There are no refunds. If you'd like, look us up on Facebook or come over to the message board and discuss the topics we've broadcast today. Don't forget to hit subscribe wherever you've listened to this show, and a like would very much be appreciated. We hope you'll join us again, but until then, remember, life's a radio. Turn it up to 10.